Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5i, Dungeons & Dragons 5th Improved, okay? So this is the 2024 core rulebooks. So one, I want to do some signal boosting. I feel so alone so often to be the only champion of D&D actually on the internet. But sometimes somebody else comes out to pull the same rope in the same freaking direction. So Nerdcore did a video and it said D&D is not dead or dying, right? And he said the same thing I did, just calmer and better. But I want to signal boost what he said, and I want to give you an astounding Dungeons & Dragons metric that puts Professor Dungeon Master and Stephen Glicker from Roll for Combat in their freaking place. Seal your flapping maw, both of you. You are spouting ridiculous noise, right? And let's get to it. So you go to Roll for Combat, Stephen Glicker, right? And he'll tell you, oh, hey, everybody, Dungeons & Dragons 5i, the core rule books, nobody's buying them. They're collecting dust on the shelves. Nothing's good. D&D is dead, right? And there are channel after channel after channel after channel. Here's a thumbnail that says D&D sucks, and nobody's buying them, and nobody will take it. You couldn't hand somebody a 5i book. You couldn't hand somebody a D&D core rule book. They won't take it. They'll just spit on it and catch it on fire, right? Like, just absolute nonsense, right? Oh, hey, everybody, I have a spreadsheet here, but I'm counting with my heart, right? Like, they hate D&D so much. Bob Worldbuilder, Professor Dungeon Master, Stephen Glicker, they're furious. Every single one of them wants to champion OSR and Indie and tell you that those OSR and Indie is just hot. But you can't give these 5th edition, these new 5i, you can't give these new 2024 core rule, but you can't give them away. They're just sitting on the shelves. Nobody's buying them. Listen up. This is the hardcore reality. Listen carefully, okay? Listen carefully. Here we go, okay? Here's the reality of it, all right? So the source on this is Nerdcore's video, D&D is not dead or dying, and he put it right up. You can read it right in his video, and here it goes, all right? Official source, it says, we sold more editions of the brand new 2024 core rulebook, Player's Handbook, in a single month than the 2014 Player's Handbook sold in 2 years. In 2 years, the demand was through the freaking roof. In a single month, in 1 month, the D&D 5i D&D 2024 Core Rules Player's Handbook sold more in a single month, right? And only the English version, because that's all that was available, right? Then the 2014 Player's Handbook sold in 2 years. In 2 years. 2014 didn't sell as many Player's Handbooks in 2 years as they sold in a single month with the 2024 Player's Handbook. That's the demand. It is through the roof, right? Oh, no, Scott, I assure you, those books are sitting on the shelf and no one will buy them. They are sitting on the shelf, right? You know why? Because there was a bunch that were on that shelf that they sold, and because Dungeons & Dragons is made by a real company, right? They sold them and they immediately replaced them because every FLGS, every Target, every Barnes & Noble, and every single independent bookstore not only has them on the shelf, they got them in cardboard boxes in the back, and they can refill them as needed because D&D is at scale, and Hasbro's demand for Dungeons & Dragons is higher than it has ever been, ever. This is the biggest print run they have ever had. And it is flying off the shelves, but you can't tell. And the reason why is when one sells, they replace it with one that's already there. And you're like, well, what's the big deal there? I can't buy Shadow Dark on any FLGS in the Philadelphia area. Do you know how bad that is? I just bought Deathmatch Island. That's some jank little like Aegon indie put out by Evil Hat Games, which is a company that can't even give its president healthcare. That's not a joke, right? Fred Hicks from Evil Hat Games literally just said, like now, like he is still relying on the healthcare from his spouse. This is the president of a company that does deals with Hollywood, right? So, and this is my point, right? Everybody's squawking, oh, Shadow Dark's what you need to play. You can't buy it at any FLGS. You won't find the print book anywhere, right? Because the distribution and the business model of that company is so bad that Kelsey Dion prioritized Solo Dark over doing the hard work, taking a little risk, getting an actual business person to fund the needed money to put the freaking book. They can't even get it on FLGSs, right? And so Shadow Dark, the hottest book in OSR, cannot even get their books on the shelves in OSR. Dungeons & Dragons sells so well, you can't even tell it's selling, because not only do they have enough to defeat 2 years of sales from 10 years ago, they got enough to restock. They have actual extra product to restock. And so if you want to tell me that the OSR and indies are hot, right? The reason why people love D&D is you can actually buy it, right? It's real. It's for realsies, right? Not some crap where the creator is collecting literally millions of dollars, but doesn't take the time to actually put the book on FLGSs and never gets called out for it, right? You're never going to hear Stephen Glicker complain. You're never going to hear Professor Dungeon Master complain. You're never going to hear Bob Worldbuilder complain that you cannot buy Shadow Dark on the shelves. But they will tell you, you can't give these books away. They're just collecting dust. Bunk. Absolute ridiculous noise. This is absolute ridiculous noise. Stephen Glicker, Professor Dungeon Master, Bob Worldbuilder, outrageous vitriol, D&D hate mongers. They despise the brand because it kicks every single one of their OSR and indie games that they want to champion in the virtual teeth. That's what's happening. That's the reality, okay? Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.